Okay, so every year we check. We get a health check from coppersmiths. Then we can budget if we need to replace one or repair one. So this one was replaced in August last year, and also number one also. It's a slight change in colour. Over a period of time it will go darker and darker, just with the heat. Also with direct fire distillation, if you think about cooking at home, you get this on your pot, on your oven or your cooker. If you don't stir, it sticks to the base. Exactly the same with direct fire distillation. So to keep the liquid moving inside the still, and to stop anything sticking to the base, we've got what we call a rummager. So the rummager, you can see here we've got a shaft going in, turning very, very slowly. This connects to a central gearing mechanism, and from that where there's 3 arms comes out, and on the arms is a set of copper chains, about maybe 15 centimetres wide, chains connected together, all the way down and up the base, and this goes round very, very slowly. You can actually hear it clinking sometimes, you hear the chains clinking, moving around, and that stops anything sticking to the base of the still. So wash distillation can take up to about 9 hours. So through the condenser, into the sample safe, we can see the liquid here coming from number 2 wash. So it's going out through the condenser, coming back in, passing through a sub-cooler, which is secondary cooling, and then coming into the sample safe. This pipe is coming from this still. Coming in through the sample, going through the jar, coming out the bottom of the safe is a blue pipe. So it then is a red liquid, it comes out as a blue liquid. This is what we call low wines, and the alcohol is about 3 times stronger. Try and keep it nice and simple. So about 40% of what we put in here goes out through the blue pipe as alcohol. The remaining 60% is a waste. So that comes out the drain at the base. So we've got the waste, all the alcohol's gone, switch off the fire, we let some air in, we can cold blast, so we let air through the fire just to stop any residual heat, and then open some safety valves, open the drain, so the drain opens up, also a glass compartment there, you can see the liquid going out, and the new colour is now like a cream colour of pipe work. Not yellow but cream, so yellow is gas. So that cream liquid, cream coloured, the waste goes along the cream coloured pipe into a cream coloured tank, which we'll see quite soon. So going back to the blue pipe, you can see the blue pipe coming from this still also. It's coming from here, the sample safe, all the way along, collecting all the spirit from 3 wash stills, the low wines, going to storage vessel. So that blue pipe goes to a storage vessel, and then the blue pipe coming from the storage vessel along the top goes to any one of the 3 spirit stills. So again, you can follow the blue pipe along somewhere down into number 2 wash spirit still, or number 3, or number 1, whatever one's available. So that blue coloured pipe is first distillation. Also, if you go back to the sample safe, so we're now doing a spirit distillation. So we filled up the spirit still, similar process. We switch on the fire, build up the temperature, collect the alcohol vapours. We're condensing coming back through here. So here we've got number 2 spirit, number 1 spirit, going through the condenser, coming in, nice and gentle, very slow flow. This centre pipe is actually connecting, becomes black. So this is spirit, and the black pipe ends up in a black vessel through the window there. So this is kind of the early stage of the first distillation, but prior to this stage, this pipe has been going through here, so the heads, the beginning of distillation. So the very beginning of distillation is called foreshots. It's very high, impure alcohol, cloudy in colour. This outlet also goes to the same blue pipe. So first distillation, foreshots, blue pipe, spirit, black pipe, and then eventually this will come down to 60% alcohol and it will go back to the blue pipe. This is faints. So you've got in the blue pipe going to the storage vessel, first distillation, foreshots and faints from the second distillation. So for the stillman it's very important that he gets the distillation process in balance. You don't want all your stills very strong at the same time, all running at the same time at the same level. So the wash stills, the 3 wash stills running, should be all at different stages. One quite strong, one medium and one quite weak. Similar with the spirit stills. So at the end of the day, in the destination of the blue pipe, the alcohol level should be pretty consistent, so you're getting even distillation. By doing that you get consistency every time. If you end up with uneven distillation, maybe something out of sequence, which should not happen, you get a very strong batch, then the next time you get a very weak batch, and that will affect the flavour of your new spirit. So stillman's got a lot of responsibility. You have this running a little bit like a chef in the kitchen, everything's just running at the right time, the right temperature, things like that. And again, it's just his entire decision. We're now at what, 6 PM, management went home, so they're relying on the masterman, the stillman, they're relying on his skill and experience to run the distillery. If there's any problems that they cannot solve, they will telephone either Callum, the production manager, or Archie, the assistant manager, whoever's on duty, and they will come down, they live on site, and they will try and fix the problem. And with their experience, they should be able to fix that fairly fast. Basically in distillation, we're controlling flavour. So I said, it's a lot of responsibility. So I said, the blue pipe is the first distillation. Also the foreshots and faints. We can follow that piper all the way through to its destination. So the blue pipe, the bottom one, the big one, going through, and then we've got the blue pipe coming from storage. You can either go directly into the stills, or usually it goes from here through here along into our heat exchangers. So we preheat it, coming back up. So from here, either going direct in the still or going down here into heat exchanger, coming back up into the still. Heat exchangers downstairs, we can maybe look at them on the way once we finish this area. So just to recap, the red pipe from upstairs, very easy, all the way down, these 2 vessels. So this is wash charger, wash storage. Both the same level, so mixing together, so not separated. And then the destination of the big blue pipe going into this vessel, low wines and faints receiver. So low wines, also foreshots and faints going in there. Mixing together. As I said, the stills are all at different levels, so you get different levels of alcohol coming in, which should give you a pretty balanced alcohol strength in the actual vessel. From here, big blue pipe comes out the base, the drain, coming through, up into this vessel, which is a measuring vessel. This gives us 21,200 litres, just an empty, just a vessel just for measurement. And then from here goes into one of the spirit stills, whichever one's available. If you remember, the cream pipe, the waste, ends up in the cream coloured tank. This liquid is called a pot ale. This is a waste from the washing station. very hot, so we use that hot liquid to preheat the next batch of bowlines and faints, and eventually that goes from the cream vessel through the heat exchangers, coming back again the cream pipe coming from the heat exchangers in here. This is pod ale waste storage. Again, we'll pick up the remnants of this. So from the spirit still, we've got our 4 shots, faints, 4 shots, new spirit, and faints, heads, heart and tails, easy to remember. Heads and tails along the blue pipe to here, if you remember. The new spirit to the black pipe work, which eventually goes all the way into our filling store for a future Glenfarclas for maturation. Small remnant, which we call spent lees, is a green pipe, so that is the waste from the spirit still. It's a small percentage, no alcohol, it's a dirty, cloudy hot water. Again, the green pipe comes out, goes through heat exchangers, eventually comes in here, and then from the still comes in here, from here through the heat exchangers, coming out, cooled down quite a bit, going out for filtration. So the destination of the waste from the spirit still, the liquid is called spent lees. It's out in this biology filtration, it's aerated, allows it to cool down. Biology filtration is microbiology, so there's little microorganisms which actually feed in the waste and they purify it. Also going in here is any chemical cleaning solutions we require, maybe for fermentation, for the mashing, for distillation, or for the stills, not distillation, for the stills. So any cleaning chemicals goes in there. Also, the waste from the wash still, we process it into an animal feed. What we do, we remove the water through an evaporation system. And that water we remove also goes in here to get purified, to get filtered. So it's a very efficient system. It comes from a German company called Wirl. It's custom built for our capacity. There's one operator, his full-time job is looking after basically the waste filtration. Very efficient. It goes in dirty, cloudy, and comes out as crystal clear, drinkable quality water. And this is what we release into the water course. So if you remember at the beginning, the water wheel was spinning. So the water going right underneath the distillery, and it catches up. There's a little man door here where we can check. So the pipe going right underneath, down to the other side of the warehouses, and it comes out as a small stream, and that is where we release this purified waste into. So this is very strictly controlled by SEPA, Scottish Environment Protection Agency. Very powerful. Trees, wildlife, rivers, everything they're responsible for to keep everything healthy. So what SEPA can do, they can come unauthorised anytime on site. Normally what they're interested in is the water above, so not where we were today, but maybe just above our dam, maybe 500 metres. So they're checking the water that comes into the distillery, and they'll go down to the stream below the distillery, and they will take samples, they'll analyse it, we get results back. And there's a very small tolerance that we're allowed for temperature change or for any pH change or anything else. So it's a very strict, limited thing you can do. But with this very efficient system, as I said, it's more or less drinkable quality water. We've got no problems. So we're also very good for the environment. Historically, a lot of the waste from distilleries ended up in the rivers, into the sea, now no longer. During filtration, there is a small amount of solids removed. That gets treated through polymer treatment to remove any copper. And at the end, we're left with what we call a sludge. Basically, it's fertiliser. And that can be used on the fields as fertiliser. SEPA also quite concerned. They will come, they can actually not only check the water, they'll come and take soil samples. So they'll take soil samples away, just in case there's any copper. So again, it's very, very strict of what you can do as a distiller. And for us, with this system, we are very, very efficient. And that is important being a standalone distillery. The big companies like Diageo, like Pernod Ricard, what they take all their waste from different distilleries onto one site and they process it. Earlier today, if you remember our tour at Bolveni, the tour guide said Glenfarclas, they take their waste from the mash tun, also from the still, the pot ale, and they do a biomass, they create biofuel. So again, that is another energy efficient system which is becoming more and more popular in the Scotch whisky industry. So as distillers, we are conscious of the environment, so that's very important. So if we go back, that's pretty much the tour. All that we've got remaining is that new spirit, the heart of the distillation. The draft from the mash tun, that's went to the farmers. The pot ale, which we'll see a little bit, we'll have a look at that a little bit later. That also eventually goes back to farmers. The spent lees from the spirit still, chemical cleaning, treated water, filtered and into the water course. So we're back in the still house just to look at the heat exchangers, follow up some of the colours. Again, as I said, easy. So red pipe from upstairs. Anything that's red and yellow means danger, so either here red, yellow, explosion hazards, red, yellow, hot. So health and safety are also there's a lot of very strict rulings, guidelines. A lot of open floorings here, upstairs. The reason for that is ventilation. So the air can circulate. If in here you get some alcohol vapours, so there's no hidden areas that can build up, it can breathe. Same with upstairs in the fermentation area with the carbon dioxide. It's an open system, so you'll see many distilleries with that. Slight problem with that, daily tours, people come in, they're scared of the height. So that's, occasionally some people, they can't walk here, but it's safe. Basically looks after the bioplant, the filtration. He's also a mashman, so he's multi-skilled. Martin is on the Mark is on the shift as well. And Neil and Jimmy. John here, one of our stillmen. When I was mashman upstairs, his father was a stillman. So now father to son as a stillman. So he also feels quite proud to be part of that. So go and see a little Mark. So Mark's our stillman on shift, same as Duncan upstairs. He's on his 8-hour shift. This nice little office here, nice and quiet. Hello.
Hello.
And again, there is a computer screens here. He's got the wash stills, the spirit stills, the pot ale evaporator. And you can see everything that goes on. But he's not just sitting here for 8 hours. He's going out doing the spirit cuts. He's checking the sample safe. So that is still very, very manual job and an important job for Glenfarclas. But he can pick up any problems here. And it's not just sitting watching. There is, he's setting the fires, make sure all the balanced distillation, so they're not all at the same time. So it looks very easy. Once you get hang of it, it's easy. Yeah, it's repetitive. No, it's quite complicated compared to upstairs. As I said, Duncan's just doing one thing. He's emptying a mash tun and he's filling it. Yep. But here you've got 6 stills at different stages, plus the pot ale evaporator. So a little bit more going on. But so once you get that routine, it becomes very easy.
So 5 years ago, there was a big panel.
Yes, I remember that panel when I was a stillman. Yes. And no air conditioned office. You're sitting in there. Everything. So. And again, computerized system, but pen and paper, every distillation. So, and that's what Callum, Archie takes away, and then they do their end of week, end of month figures from. So basically this has replaced the 1970s Star Trek panel basically, which was quite temperamental. These are two guys from Japan, from our distributors, so they're
Alright.
quite interested. They're here for a week with me, so
Very
this
good.
is their intense, in-depth tour. I've been videoing the whole way, so under pressure.
You'll be able to operate the distillery yourself by the end of the week.
Well, all good, we'll leave you in peace.
Perfect, thank
Cheers,
you.
Mark.
Thank you very
Nice to
much.
meet you.
As you see over here, friends, the gas pipe is coming in, going into fire. So it's like a butcher box, it's a flame underneath. Again, you can see the coloured pipes. Again, we've got the cream pipe from the wash still, the green pipe from the spirit still. Heat exchangers. A lot of complicated pipe work here, but this is for our first distillation. So again, the red pipe coming in through heat exchangers. Again, cold water going through here. Not cold water, cream pipe coming in. So red pipe coming in, cream pipe coming in. We're taking the heat from here to preheat the liquid from upstairs. So it's going in probably around about 30 degrees, it's coming out about 70 degrees. And then through here into, so basically coming out of here, it's going in yellow, it's coming out along here as a blue pipe that's not coloured in here. So red goes in, blue comes out. Then gets the spirit distillation. It is quite complicated, this one, without being coloured. So that's our first distillation, this is our second distillation. Again, they can change, depends how much liquid we got now, they can change, they can use one or they can use two, just depends what they're doing. So. It's all numbered as well, so again, it's reasonably easy once you know what you're doing. You can see the heat in here, you can spend a second on this window here. Nice and cold. It's coming from a reservoir. Inside the pipe, going in, going through, feeding condensers. So, number one spirit condenser, or one wash condenser, and number two. So shelling tube. So that might, you can imagine how much water we're using. We use in excess of 1 million litres of water per day just for cooling. But the good thing about that is we recover that, the cold water that's going in, being pumped, going into condenser, with the very hot alcohol vapours. Okay, we're cooling down the vapours, that's the most important, into liquid. But by doing that we're actually creating some warm water. So we're recovering the warm water, which helps us to process our animal feed. Also from here you can see a big silver box coming out. So you can imagine under the two fires there's a huge amount of heat there, residual heat. So what we do, we're actually sucking that heat out from underneath the still. And here we've got a waste heat boiler, which is brand new basically. So we've got the hot air coming out the stills being sucked out by a fan. We've got water going in here, and that hot air is boiling that water, and we're creating steam, basically for free. So there's no fuel, there's no gas or oil for this. That is free steam. And what that steam does, it goes to the mash house and it heats up the first and second water in the grey tanks for free. There is an oil boiler just next to it, just as a backup, just in case there's not enough steam, but it's a very efficient system. And again, it is only, this was installed summer, so it's 7-8 months old only. Very, very efficient. So this is our gas station. So we actually got North Sea gas here coming right up the Speyside, and this is where it comes up the highway, comes into Glenfarclas. It's a little, it comes in a big pipe and comes out a small pipe, little sort of reducing thing.
Yes, what is that tall white tower?
Chimney. So that one, we don't have any heat recovery from there.
Recovery.
No, from number one we're collecting all the heat. From number two, the heat is just going up the chimney. So the heat from the underneath the still, the waste heat. So like fumes, basically hot, like no smoke, but just the hot air under the still. Because you imagine you've got this big fire, there is air round about there, so you need ventilation. So that's for ventilating the heat up into the atmosphere. Where this one here, we're sucking that heat out into the boiler. Potentially we could have a boiler here, but at the moment the benefits, this is enough. If we have, even this one, sometimes occasionally you're driving into work, or sometimes there's like excess steam, so sometimes it creates too much steam, so it's there's no point in having that, otherwise we've too much steam, because we don't use steam to heat our stills. So we only use steam to heat up the mashing water, and also a little bit for the hot air evaporation system. So filtration, say nothing too much to see here. So it actually comes into that first vessel, and it's fed from there into here, aerated, goes from here into the two grey towers, goes through there, through the biology, into the first square vessel here, it's polymer copper extraction. The next hut is membrane filtration, where you really purify into basically crystal clear water. It looks very simple, but it's quite complicated. Not complicated, temperamental, because the little bugs, they don't like quick changes of temperature, pH, acidity, things like that. So going back to the condensers, so the cold water going in, the warm water coming out, hot water coming out, so that's 70 degrees centigrade, stored in this blue tank, and it goes from there, if it's overflowing, that's going into the same stream as the overflow from the water wheel. So the water's cooling it down a bit, and then going right down into the main stream. Coming over the rooftop, the two pipes coming at an angle. That's the waste from the mash tap, the draft, the spent grain. Coming over the rooftops, if you remember, we push it out with a little screw plus compressed air. So a lot of pressure required to push it right over the rooftops. And then coming in here, and the trucks will come in and they'll take it away as angle. If you remember the little hatch, remember I told you to remember the little hatch in the mash, underneath the mash tun? That little hatch is the same size as this footballs. And what we do, once the draft is emptied, we open up the hatch, pop the football in, put on the compressed air, and the football comes right over the rooftop to the cistern in here, and it cleans the pipe. very simple to clean it out. Pot ale evaporation in here. This is custom built by a company called Alfa Laval in Denmark. So they came, they looked at our waste about 15 years ago. Production level probably a little bit higher now, so we get more waste, which is the reason why we distill. Again, this is reasonably new, the waste from the water treatment. This system here it's still efficient, but it's not capable of producing processing everything. So at the moment we're looking at Alfa Laval to come in and upgrade this for us within a new system. So John has agreed to that upgrade. Very noisy in here, lots of stainless steel. Basically what we take from the cream tank is a hot ale, the sous heat exchanger goes into the pot ale tank, still quite hot. We take that into these vessels, going around, there's heat exchangers, we create a vacuum pressure with steam, there's